What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV with your host, Dano here, giving you the best content on the internet. I promise you, if you watch 10 minutes, you're going to stay for the full hour because we have Berny Martin coming onto the show. Man, he's an international fashion designer. So any of these famous stars that you've probably seen, Bernie's worked with them. I was looking at some of your people you worked with, Noah Schnapp, Billy Porter, all of these great, supermodels and fashion icons and stars and celebrities, whatever you want to call them. So, Bernie, what do you have to say to everybody before we get started for today?
Hey, welcome to the show, and congratulations to you on following your heart and dream as well. Give it to you, man. Come on, Dino.
Let's
Yeah,
get it. Let's get it, man. Bernie, we're going to be talking
let's
about
get it.
Yeah, because I know that was a big part of your story where you were in a place where you didn't feel like your heart was set in stone. So you took life by the balls, so to speak, and you made it your own. So everybody, like, share, do whatever you have to do to raise your vibrations because it's
Right.
time for the first episode of season 4. Let's get it, everybody. Go, man. It's a time for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV with your host here, Dano, bringing you the best content on the internet, whatever you want to call it. I just have so much excitement right now because it's the start of a new season, and this all wouldn't be possible without you guys, my positivity posse. So if you're watching this live or on the replay, I need you to drop a hashtag positivity posse so that I know you're rocking with me all of this great content and we're raising our vibrations to make this world a better place in the condition that we found it in. And man, let me tell you, Bernie is doing that in the fashion world. And I know when it comes to fashion, I'm no expert. I like to do my best and dress to the best of my ability most of the time, but not every single day. But we have a fashion expert here bringing you guys all the tips and tricks to make sure that we're putting the best clothes in our closets, and every time we're going out, that we're showing out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just very excited for Bernie to come on. Let me just make sure that this is up. Oh, there it is. There it is. I don't know why it's not focusing correctly, but we got to move past it. We have the affirmations for today that we have to talk about before Bernie comes on because I'm telling you, he has such an abundance of knowledge, a plethora of knowledge, whatever you want to call it, just to make sure that we're all feeling our best. And I guess now, there's the correlation. Fashion isn't just the clothes that you put on, but it's the way that you feel while you're rocking it and the confidence and just the ability to express yourself too. Because I know that fashion is a form of expression, just like, music is and art and all these different things. Fashion is included in that as well. So like I said, I'm gonna let the expert talk about that. So let me talk about my expertise right here, which is happiness and how to find our happiness. So let's see what the book of affirmation says for today. So here it is. We're going to go with number 134. This says, "It is safe to enjoy my life. Although some parts of me may be resistant to release control, I know that I am safe to let go and enjoy. It is safe to find pleasure in the present moment. It is safe to stop worrying so much. Nothing bad can come from my enjoyment." And I really love this one a lot just because we tend to hold on things that really don't serve us, whether it's like, an ex relationship, or maybe it's some clothes that we've been hanging on to forever, but they have a bunch of holes in them, and they're not really serving us, because subconsciously that could be a sign that you're saying, hey, if this shirt that I've had for so many years has holes in it and it really doesn't fit too well, then that's what you're saying that you deserve. You're saying that you're not worthy of new stuff or expensive stuff. So like I said, it's a subconscious thought, but it is there. I mean, think about it. Have you ever had that, room, like even just say when your room is dirty, right? That messes up with your subconscious mind, and you know that it's there and it's just throwing you off. So, like I said, give yourself permission to release whatever served you in the past but doesn't serve you right now. Always be grateful for everything of the way that it happened, because that's what it took for you to get to where you are today, right? Not everything is always bad that happens to you. It's getting you to the point to where you need to be so you could become that best person that you can ever become. And I know that's a big part of Bernie's story, because I was reading his bio, and it was just saying that he was in a place that he didn't want to be. His heart and his soul did not feel like he needed to be there. And he, took it upon himself to say, hey, I know what my passion is in life. I know what, maybe I don't even know what I need to do to get there. But he just always bet on himself, man. And that's what we're going to be talking about for today. So thank you guys for dropping the hashtag positivity posse right here. Let's go. Season 4, man. It's just so much fun just to be able to bring this concept for you guys. And watch, even when Bernie comes on, I know you saw him a little bit in the pre-show, but even when he comes on, just look at his smile. And I know you guys are going to be smiling through the phone because it's so contagious, just to experience the good soul that he is, and really the difference that he's making in this world through the lens of fashion. So everybody, I need you to do whatever you got to do to welcome Bernie on the show. Drop some hearts, drop a let's go, say welcome Bernie, say I have no idea about fashion, drop something to welcome Berny Martin to come on the show. Bernie, what are you doing, man? Stop working on your fashion back there. It's time to come on to the show.
Oh my God, I love it. I
Let's
love it.
get it. See,
Thank
what did I
you.
got? I told you about the smile, man. You got me smiling over here.
I
Wow.
love it.
There
You're
it
the
is. Look,
best.
Bernie, you already got the positivity posse going, man. So listen, before we even get started, I sound like a broken record saying it, but thank you so much for coming on today and really sharing all of your expertise and all the great things that you have been doing in this world through the worlds of fashion. And even beyond that too, I know you sit on a couple of boards for nonprofits, and you actually have your own and different things like that. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Slow down, Bernie. We got to go through a couple things first. No, I'm just messing
I
with you.
got it. Yes,
So,
sir.
so I want to show you. I want to start off kind of in a funny sense. What in the world of fashion is nowadays? Because I know it's changed, through the decades. Because we started out with wearing long things, and let's just take a different couple looks of what fashion has grown into. I mean, I this is what is popular nowadays. This is what's going on. You got this guy wearing the knee highs and the underwear all over the blazer coat, and I don't know. This is and my favorite one is right here. I mean, this
Oh
is
my
uh
God.
this is what fashion has turned into nowadays. But as
Yeah.
we go along, I'm gonna show you guys Bernie's work, man, because it really is refreshing to see, your style and your sense of everything as we're going through. So Bernie, let's start off with this question.
Yes,
It may
sir.
be simple, but I know it's loaded. What is fashion?
Wow. It is a bucket list of answers into one simple answer. So, if you can describe what fashion is, and it has to do culture, an expression of culture through the art of dressing,
Mhm.
you know? So each region of the planet or culture, countries, whichever you name it, have their own way of expressing themselves. So that's what fashion is. And and over the years, designers, I would say, have taken part into expressing their cultural heritage of what fashion is in their own backyard. So, you know, if you go in the United States, for example, the way people dress in New York is nothing like the way they dress in Miami, or even if you go to LA. And of course, that has to do with the climate. And that play a big deal of what fashion is as well. So, yes, you have the culture, and then you have also the natural circumstances of life that make you dress in a way, you know?
100%. And that was the first thing that I thought of is when you said, climate, because
Yeah.
somebody that dresses in, that they're in Alaska is not going to be the same of what
I
you see
know.
in Africa.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. I'm going to show everybody watching right now. Now we're going to take a breath of fresh air to see Bernie's fire design. So everything that you see, he designed himself
Yeah.
right here. Boom, look at
Boom.
that.
Boom.
Boom, drop the mic right there. That is fashion. That's what I'm talking about. It's classy, it's elegant, and everything just fits so well.
Yeah.
I love this picture too. I mean, just it's
Yeah.
fire right there. See, it's so nice to see something like this.
Yeah,
Would you be
and
able to
that
talk about
one
this?
was done in Algeria, in Africa. Actually, that picture was taken last year.
Wow.
It's one of
See,
the work that I really enjoyed doing when I was there shooting. It was amazing.
I can tell. I mean, just you can see it in the production quality of everything that you're doing. And thankfully it's recent too. Like you said,
Yeah.
that was last year. Can you talk about this piece?
Yeah, this one was in South Africa, in Cape Town. So I love playing with different culture to express the minimal things that make things bigger things.
Mm-hmm.
you
100%.
so even with him with a pink suit in the middle of the sand, yeah. So you're never gonna see that, but we do it.
Hey, you know what? And that's what makes you so excellent is the things that you're never gonna see, you provide that for us too, man. And
Exactly.
when
Yeah.
I saw this, I said, man, that's fashion right there. That thing is fire. So congratulations on designing this.
Can
And
you
that's
imagine you going to a wedding in the sandy beach of San Diego or something, and then you pop in, everybody looking at you. Wow, I want to date this guy. Who's Dano?
yeah, you're
I'll
gonna
pick
take
him up.
room up there after you pull up to your stuff.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
this is amazing. So let's talk about that. I know culture has been, like you just said, a big influence in fashion nowadays, and it varies by the region from, region to region. But besides culture, what are some of your biggest influences in designing, all of your pieces?
emotional experiences, you know, the ups and downs, the stress of life, the climate of different political system that I travel through. North Africa, South Africa, Central America, and here, right here at home in the United States, the East, the West, the Midwest. So when I'm traveling or going through places, even if I'm driving, uh, I'm the kind of guy that's gonna be observing everything. I take a deep breath of everything that's occurring right in front of my eyes. I like to touch and feel and see things, with my own thing. And part of that, not that I want to be biblical about it or anything like that. If you think about it, the universe created all that for us. Or whether you want to call it God or Allah or whatever you want to call it, but it's there right here in our hands. And for us, for me personally, I just enjoy the fact that I could go down the street eating a taco or something like that, and then immersing myself into the diversity of the texture of the food itself. Say, and I incorporating all that in my design. So yeah.
Man, and that's big time stuff. Thank you for bringing that up too, because I don't think a lot of people understand when it comes to the universe or God. There are higher powers, and it's like you said, those are the same things. If you find the inspiration there, it's going to
Yeah.
take your work to the next level, and that's what we're all about.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, with that being said, there isn't any limit. There's no limit. You can. it's kind of like you're creating a big bowl of salad, and then
Mhm.
you're adding all the little pieces like in your cooking jar, and then you're like, boom.
Boom, yep, you hit them with something that they've never tasted
You never taste
before,
before.
man.
Exactly, exactly.
And that's so amazing, and like I said, really refreshing to see in the world of fashion nowadays because like I said, I don't know really the first thing about fashion. So let's talk about that really quickly. If there's, the average man out there, if there's a man that wants to improve on their style, but they don't really know how to, would you be able to give us like 3 tips in order to increase our style?
Yeah, tip number one: don't overbuy stuff. That's tip number one. And that's another myth. Men don't men don't know how to dress. It's a lie. Men don't find the right fit. That's number one problem. I would say the number two is to find your fit, what fit for your body type. You know, don't if you a size 50, why are you trying to squeeze yourself into a size 42? No, sorry, I'm sorry, no, game
Yeah.
over. There's no way you're gonna go out in the club and trying to shake that up. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is to attract the opposite sex or anything like that. You have to look comfortable. There's no way you're gonna be a size 50 and trying to be in size 42. So
Mhm.
the right fit, and then the third one will be elegance. So in order for you to be feeling fine and elegant and comfortable, you have to have step number one and step number two. So it's that simple to me.
Yeah.
A simple t-shirt can do it, a simple jacket can do it, a simple pair of jeans can do it. But as long as you know those things, you're good to go.
100%. So thank you for clarifying that for me too, because I feel like I've been trying to really find my style, but we've been going through some different changes, like looser fit or tighter fit, and
Yeah,
it's just all about preference. I appreciate you because I know I needed those tips as well.
yeah.
Lou says Bernie has to hook you up with a suit for the next MC event. Hey, we got to talk about it. We'll make it happen. That's for after the show, though, Lou. We'll talk about that
Okay.
though. Now, Bernie, your journey has been nothing short of amazing and really kind of a miracle because you didn't start in fashion to begin with, and you had to go through that contrast of living life the way that you didn't want to see what you wanted from life. And I know when I was reading your bio that you were in the tech field and you just weren't really loving it and you weren't miserable and you took that leap of faith to go work or to go study at the New York Fashion Institute of Technology. Can you talk about that leap of faith and maybe if there's somebody that's watching right now that needs a little bit of encouragement, how was that leap of faith for you? Was it difficult or was it easy?
You know, uh, a little bit of both. And thanks thanks to my prior education, right? In the technology industry. So when I went to school for fashion, it was at the right time. I'm not sure how that happened. It was kind of like the perfect time when I decided to join because fashion was transitioning to a technology, more technology immensely. You know, personally in my career, I knew that. I knew a lot of other careers were about to jump into the wagon of technology, as you see it now. Like that's what AI is all about, really. To be honest with you, whether you like it or not. So I knew that. So with that being said, um, the world of fashion and technology right now is one. There's no there's no way around it these days. But the other thing, for me, I grew up in Brooklyn, and the area of Brooklyn that I grew up at, I always felt that was a strong connection with the fashion, you know, and therefore all my entities kind of gave me the boost of confirmation about who I am about to become.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There was no need for me to reassure myself that I could do this, except the fact that, as you mentioned it, to take a leap of faith. I knew if I took the leap of faith, it would work because of what I have done in the past growing up in Brooklyn.
Hmm. And that's big time too, because a lot of people don't know. Well, I'll tell you, I'll say it like this. When you two things. Number one, when you said earlier, I don't know how it all happened. It was perfect timing. I think that was the forces that you said earlier, whether it was God or the universe.
Yeah,
So I think that was one part of it. And number two, when you do what you love, it doesn't really feel like work. And I know from a young age that you always had a passion for fashion. Not
yeah,
to sound funny, right? Not just because it rhymed.
yeah.
But you knew that since you loved it, that it never felt like work, and that when that's the case, you just have all the ideas flowing through you. You're in that state of flow. So it's really great to hear that, and that's for anybody that's out there too. If they're
Yeah.
not in this place where
So
they want to be,
yeah, so to give you an idea of what I'm referring to as well. So if I don't have it with me now, if I show you my high school yearbook, all the comment in my high school yearbook was like, "You go ahead, fashion designer. You go get them." And I'll be honest with you, I had no desire to become a fashion designer back then. uh, my mind was onto something else, completely different.
oh
As
wow,
a young boy, you know what I mean by that. You are chasing parties, going and activating other things.
yeah,
So so it was maybe about 5 years ago. I decided to open my high school yearbook, and I saw all those comments, and my eyes just like pop out. But I've heard people said it to me in my previous time in throughout high school and early college year, but I never bound to the idea. However, was I playing with the content of being a fashion designer? Does that make sense?
yeah,
It's the same thing I could say maybe somebody that want to be a MC or an actor or anything like they play little roles. Does that make sense? And then
yeah.
when they jump into their fate and then they just do it. And then I was kind of attitude. My attitude was like, what I have to lose. I only have this one lifetime. So I'm gonna be the best that I can be in my own term to be that fashion designer and inspiring people as well.
I love that, man. And thank you for clarifying that too. Because a lot of people know what they want to do, or maybe if you don't know what to do,
Yeah.
look at the things that you're most passionate about, and just jump full force into it. And I mean, don't jump into it. Make sure you have a plan and try to strategize a little bit, because I know, Bernie, you didn't just jump into it. You actually went to school and you took it piece by piece. But everybody needs to do the same thing. Don't think that wherever you are right now, that's where you're stuck at in life.
Yeah.
Erica says, Dano, you have women coming up to you to ask about you. You have great style. Thank you, Erica. I appreciate that. But Bernie, I kind of want to ask you, like, a little bit of a fun question.
Yeah.
So when it comes to designing and dressing yourself, because like I said, I just kind of find the first thing that I have in my closet, I just throw it on and I go out and do whatever I need to do for the day.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to get ready for like an average day?
I have a 5 minutes rule.
Okay.
5 minutes rule for me. If it's not within the 5 minutes, then therefore I completely rip it apart and do something completely different.
Wow. How'd you come up with that rule?
Because the thing is, I realize we spend so much time in our closet, especially women, and then we grow more frustration. So I basically when I'm doing that, I'm teaching myself that I can activate my personality by the way I'm dressing, and then letting the colors come to my imagination, and then expressing myself more fluidity with more fluidity.
Yeah,
You know.
100. Yeah. They
So
say,
when I yeah, so when I do that, guess what happened? All my limbs and my energy can flow into the colors that I'm expressing myself when I'm in front of somebody. I feel comfortable.
I love that, man. And they say that when it comes to, Mark Zuckerberg, for example, he wears the same thing and everything that you see him in all the pictures. And that comes with decisional, energy that you were talking
Energy,
about.
exactly. It
Yeah.
is, yeah, and it helps you be in front of other things that might come to you to be more uh, upfront and more decisive.
Mhm.
Because if you are constantly worried about the way you're dressing, so what it does, it create all kind of obstacles around you. You
Mhm.
know, and therefore you're not really dedicating yourself to who you are in front of that person. So there, what's gonna happen next? You are gonna be uncomfortable. So if you're an uncomfortable self, therefore you're not gonna listen right. If you're not gonna listen right, therefore you're not gonna answer right. If you're not answering right, therefore guess what? You're mediocre. So if you're not mediocre, then therefore why are you here? Why do you even exist in front of me?
I love that. I love that. So you sound like you have a standard that you need to live by, especially, it comes for fashion, but it's not just about fashion. It goes with every other
With
facet.
every other thing, exactly. Versus if you're comfortable the way you dress, guess what happened? You feeling that energy and the vibe, people coming to you that, oh, but damn, Dano, look at you, man. And then and sometimes people don't realize why they feel that way. And part of that feeling that way is because you're comfortable of
Mhm.
what you're dressing. And the minute you're not comfortable with the what you're wearing, guess what? The energy is off. So therefore, people don't. You stand in the corner in the nightclub. You're not eating right in the restaurant. The girl that you with feeling uncomfortable. So why are you here? Sit at home. Watch your Netflix.
I love that. Yeah, and your pajamas with your holes in them, right? If you know.
Exactly, exactly. And then maybe next day you can come out right.
Yeah. I love that. But it's what I was gonna say this too. Look good, feel good, do good. I was gonna say look good, feel good, play good, which
Yeah,
is the same thing. And I love that
exactly.
motto as well. Because I take that, I used to do that for sports, when you would have the nice cleats and the nice equipment, for me, a nice helmet, whatever it is, when you look good, you're able to optimize at a better level. And that's what you were just saying, man. It's really important. So everybody out there, it's not just about the clothes that you're putting on yourself. It's the way that you're feeling and your expression that you have. And that might be the conversation piece to say, hey, this guy's feeling good. You might get a new job opportunity, or Bernie was talking about, you
Yeah,
might get a new date or a new girlfriend, whatever it is. Just,
exactly.
I love that, man. So, Bernie, now when it comes to fashion, like I said, I'm no expert. So I'm so glad that we have you here on the show.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest myths that you see in the fashion industry that you maybe want to dispel for us?
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's so much of them. Oh Lord, that we are not educated. We making decision on just on maybe some lousy things. It's all calculated plan. I can honestly tell you that a lot of the people that are buyers have PhDs in economics. They're very smart individuals. Fashion is not what people think it is. There's a lot of science actually in fashion.
Wow.
The chemistry that goes into the fabrics. Oh my God! I'll give you an example. Like there are certain sheep around the world you cannot get them, but that region in the world. And you can take the same sheep you're trying to grow it in Texas. Guess what? The yarn came out differently. You know, so elevation of the landscape change completely the demographic of the yarn, the texture of it and all that stuff. So there's a lot going on behind the scene when it comes to the fashion industry that people take for granted, you know. However, there is also the bad side of fashion, what I'm saying, the overpopulation of overgrowing over clothes that are being fabricated on mass quantities. And I'm
Mhm.
one that I enjoy doing customization clothes because it make people feel good about what they have on, and guess what? They stick to it for a much longer term because
Mhm.
obviously you're gonna put something on instead of getting rid of it in 2 3 days. Why not keeping it for a year or two? So save the planet a little bit. We have to, part of it. We don't have another planet yet.
Yeah, seriously. And all these people are trying to go away to Mars and everything, but let's take care of what we got going on over
Yeah,
here.
nah, yeah. I don't think Mars is ready yet. So I don't know how many years, but
Yeah, so while we're here, let's take care of the earth the best way that we can, right?
we can.
So we
Exactly.
have a question here from Lou. He
Yeah.
says, "Do the clothes make the man, or does the man make the clothes?"
It's a little bit of both. It's a chemistry. I like to call it. It's a marriage at the first sight. It's like the first. the first girlfriend you have and you don't know what to do with her, you know, and you're like, okay, am I gonna stick around or am I gonna give it a ring or do something else, you know? So yeah, because what happened is your eyes. There's a couple of things going on. Of course, you've been brainwashed by a lot of commercial what you should look like, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the first thing you should get rid of in your memory. You know what you should look. Don't let other people tell you what you should look like.
Mm-hmm.
You should go in your mirror and investigate what you should look like, who you want to look like, and what kind of energy you want to put out there as you as a person. So yes, there is that version of, but at the same time, there are clothes out there that are available to you that can make you that man that you want to. So that's why I say it's a combination of the two.
You just have to find what style works for
What
you.
works for you exactly, and
I
once
love
you
that.
nailed it, guess what? Bingo.
100%. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that, man. You know, it took a long time to get here, but it's like I said, it's possible by you guys, the Positivity Posse, the sponsors, and people like Bernie, man, just coming on and sharing their experiences because this is what it's all about, man. Just giving you guys the education, and even myself, I'm learning something too. As you're talking, Bernie, don't be mistaken. I'm writing down notes over here so that when I go to the mall tomorrow, I can say, all right, this is what Bernie said. Uh,
Yes, definitely.
Oh yeah, so we're halfway through the episode already. I know it's been flying by. So we're just gonna play a few commercials from our sponsors,
Yeah.
and don't go anywhere. Like, share, do whatever you got to do to raise your vibrations, and
Okay.
we'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
Did you know you
Okay.
can apply to over 50 historically black colleges and universities at the same time for only $20? You can with the Common Black College application. Hello, my name is Robert Mason. I'm the founder of the CBCA. Students around the world have completed the application and received multiple acceptance letters, financial aid packages, and scholarship offers. So visit our website at commonblackcollegeapp.com to apply now. And don't forget to pick up the book, Get Educated, The Man Behind the Common Black College Application. Thank you.
You can navigate the legal and emotional journey of divorce and exit a marriage the way you entered it, with mindfulness, love, and respect. Solace Divorce Mediation is a full-service law practice helping couples focus on the health and well-being of children and their forever co-parenting family. Our streamlined divorce journey offers flat fees with an estimated completion time frame of 2 to 4 months. If you or a friend need us, visit solacedivorce.com.
Everybody, that was a quick word from our sponsors. Thank you to our sponsors for sponsoring Weekly Dose of Dano. Thank you, Bernie, for coming on today. And thank you to my Positivity Posse for lighting it up in the comments and just spreading the positive vibes, because it wouldn't be possible without you guys either. So, Bernie, man, I want to talk to you about a quick quote and tell me what this quote means to you.
Okay.
So, it's not always easy, but it's worth every second. What does that mean to you?
Oh man, it means waking up in the morning, not liking certain things that are flashing in front of you, and you keep going. Not having enough in your bank account, and you keep doing it. It means that people criticizing your work, criticizing whatever you have done, and you wake up in the morning, you keep doing it. So that's what it means to me, and serving your community, and on top of it, making a bang. So
I love that, man. Now talk about, walk us through maybe one of those moments or your most trying moments where you were just like, I'm going to give up and, I'm not really feeling it right now. What was your, most intense moment that you maybe wanted to give up? But how did you push through it?
um I guess part of it has to do a cultural thing for me. I'm from the Caribbean island of Haiti, and therefore, uh, I don't want to say I think I've seen the worst of things, but growing up in Brooklyn also gave me the opportunity of a lifetime to understand what it means to work hard and play hard. Because Brooklyn, man, I tell you, in the '90s, it was something. it was. I mean, if you ever heard the lyrics of Biggie, I like to call it every single thing he said was true.
Oh, wow.
you know. So so with that being said, it kind of like ingrained in me. It was some kind of like certain things that were preparing me for this journey. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I always say now as a grown man, I'm like, man, I wouldn't like to anyone to go through that in this lifetime because it's not for everybody. But now as I where I am now, I understand why because it was preparing me for another journey, you know? So yeah.
100%. And I think I can agree with you too, because growing up, it was probably the same thing. I grew up in the hood and, you see a lot of things at a young age that it shows you what you don't want to become. But like
Yeah.
you said, I'm actually grateful of the way that, I grew up because, like you said, it teaches you patience and it teaches you resiliency too. Because a
Mhm.
lot of people nowadays where, one bad thing may go wrong and they just want to give up or they're just like, I'm through with this and they're not really satisfied. But that's one of the blessings and beauties about it. It teaches you how to be tough and it teaches you how to be resilient as well. And, that's going to be, I think, an issue going forward in the future. And you mentioned it earlier when it comes about AI and technology and fashion. Like the Apple Watch is a classic example nowadays of, tech fashion that you can do. I know when Google's developing glasses that, it'll tell you what the temperature outside is and, all the crazy stuff that they got going with that. But when it comes to AI and fashion, do you think that technology is going to make a huge dent in the fashion industry when it comes to like people and jobs?
Yes and no. Depends on what it is, and obviously, technology is something that we as human, I guess, men or women, have been using for to advance our lifestyle. So whether when you're looking at a street light, okay, that's a robot, that's telling you when the car should go and when the car should stop. People don't think about uh, that as a robot. It is a robot, you know, that was programmed to tell the car, "Hey, now it's your turn. No, you stop." Yeah. And technology gonna be for every part of our lives. The thing that we as society have to come to understand: when do we make a decision for our society to say, you know what, this is enough. Okay, I think I
Mhm.
have enough here. Or when you're looking at certain things that are on Instagram, there's certain things that should not be going there because there are other people that are certain ages that should not be seeing those kind of things.
Mhm.
Whether if it is freedom of speech or not, but definitely that technology should be in certain way protecting the certain viewers from certain languages or anything like that, just because their mindset is not there yet, to
Mhm.
operate in that level. That's all it is. However, uh, are their company taking advantage of that, of those rules and manipulating it and things like that? Yes, they are. And unfortunately, that's where we as society we should join forces and combine our knowledge, whether if it is the Chinese or the American or wherever they are, to agree on certain things. What should be the rules about certain things, because obviously technology is gonna be there no matter what.
Mhm. Yeah, and like you said, I think that it's kind of taken its course already, and I'm not sure if it's really controllable because you hear people like Elon Musk saying that it's out of control, and
It
you
is.
know he knows more about it than we do. So if
Mhm.
he's saying that, it's just always just be sure to be curious and cautious about using this stuff. But it's kind of like you said earlier, when you have that drive and you have that connectedness to the universe or God, there's unlimited possibilities. So there's nothing that we can't come up with ourselves, and don't get too invested into media and technology nowadays,
Mhm.
because I know with chat gpt a lot of people use that to come up with script ideas or different designs and things like that. You don't always have to look out to the outer world. Look inside, see what inspiration you get and bring it to life, because that's what we're human for, right? That's our job and our responsibility.
Absolutely, absolutely. And unfortunately, with AI, what they are doing, they are learning from other human beings. So, in other words, technically they are doing what we were supposed to be doing. If you think
Yeah.
about it, it's all about our experiences, and through those experiences, that's how the technology is learning on how to serve us. But unfortunately, over the years, we have been teaching our young people to be more dependent on those technology, and therefore what's going on really is they are not using certain part of their mindset. so
Hmm.
so therefore we're wondering why is it going that route. So we, as older and more wiser, or hopefully that's what it is, we should be making more decision on how we should go about creating. And that's how I do things. Especially young, I work with a lot of young people, and usually when they come to me, they're like, oh yeah, I want to be a fashion designer. I'm like, are you sure you want to be a fashion designer? And then I'm questioning them. They're looking at me weird. And I think I just said that. I was like, I think I know that, but I'm wondering what kind of designer you want to be. And they're looking at me like, oh snap, that was a deep question right there. And I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, I know. So what kind of designer you want to be? Street underwear, street evening wear. Where do you want to? Where do you see yourself fit in?
Hmm.
And then they're like, hold on a minute, I'm gonna go back home and think about this further. Because I'm allowing them to think. Guess what? They appreciate me more because I did not just like give in to their social media lifestyle. They just push a button and then things happen for them. You know,
Hmm.
so I make them think, and people think that allowing yourself to think is a bad thing. No, it's not. It's a good thing that evolve our mindset, our brain. So fashion gave me that opportunity, gave me that challenge. It allowed me to go to places and solve problems.
I love that too, because that when we push ourselves, our mind is basically like our body, right?
Yeah,
So when we go to the gym and we're working out our muscles, what happens? The muscle gets stronger, and you're able to do more things. And it's the same thing with the mind and the creativity. When
yeah,
you start to think about more things, you become more creative and you do things that people would have never seen coming.
yeah.
And you were just talking about working with young people. So let's continue that path. If there's somebody right now that's watching and they want to get into the fashion industry, what information or what piece of advice do you have to give to these people that want to get into the fashion industry?
Oh wow, that's a good one. School, I know they don't like the idea of that, but that's the best way for you to learn different formation. Like mathematics, grammar, and world history. They all play a role into making a decision on how to operate in the world of fashion. Because when you're looking at the science of things, the manipulation of colors and stuff like that, they're all part of the articulating what you want, the way you want to express yourself in this world. So for you not knowing those things, you will not be able to express yourself properly, and it's going to
Hmm.
be more frustration and anger within yourself. So therefore school, learn as much as you can about the different diversity that's around you. And another one, travel,
Oh, yeah.
do as much as you can, even taking a bus somewhere. Don't quick to just say, oh, I'm just taking a cab. Take a time to venture into other people culture, learn what it means to be Muslim, like to be in a Jewish family, how to be Latinos and things like that, because the cultural diversity that we have here, especially here in the United States, is so diverse, and it allows us to investigate the world without even have to take an airplane ticket. So for me, for example, uh, growing up in Brooklyn, just one building. And I'm not kidding you, Dino. I think I had all the countries in the world in one building. You went to one floor, it was blasting Jamaican music. You went to another floor, it was bachata all over. You
Yeah.
went to the floor, it was Haitian music. It was literally like that, Indian, Pakistani, you name it. So for me, it was like roots of all the information right there, in part of pretty much like a one black square radius. That was it. I didn't have to go airplane. I never had to. Shoot, my dad was broke enough to even queue for the airplane tickets. So for me, I was immensely involved within right there in my building. So take advantage of that. The United States have so many of those different ethnic groups, the different neighborhood. Go eat their food. That alone will blow up your mind. So yeah.
100%. Thank you so much for sharing that too, because I know I've been doing a lot of traveling recently in my life. Within the past 3 years, I've been going to a lot of places. It's like you said, you become a lot more creative just by seeing what the culture is like, eating the food, and just getting, for a fashion sense, seeing what other people are wearing, and trying out new designs and new clothes and new textures. It's just all amazing. So thank you for sharing that too. And
Yeah.
you brought up the word experiences
Yeah.
earlier, and experiences are one of the best teachers in life. And you've probably had some great experiences. Well, not probably. I know you've experienced some great things throughout the world. Like I said, you've had showrooms in Hong Kong and Munich, Paris, New York, all of these different places.
Yeah.
So, as far as experiences, would you be able to tell us which experience has been the best one or your favorite one, and why it was your favorite one?
I don't think I have a best one, but I can tell you one that kind of like did allow me to dig deep, to find out who I was really, is when I first visited Africa. And the reason for such, because yeah, I'm a black man. I grew up in the Caribbean, and I was born in the island of Haiti. My parents are both Latino and Cuban and Haitians. So for me, I have a different point of view of what it means to be black. You know what I'm saying? Until I went to Africa and understanding what it means to be black, it was a complete different story, because their version of being black was about royalty. It's literally true. You remember the Lion King, the whole thing about the Lion King. I was like, holy crap, this is really true. I couldn't believe it, because uh, our understanding of what it means there and what it means here, there was a kingdom relationship there. Versus, I have no idea what that means. So I had to learn on what it means. And for me, that kind of like created another side of my personality that I never knew existed. We heard of it, but we never experienced it. But experiencing it was completely different. The whole hierarchy of human existence happened right there in front of my eyes. you know?
Wow. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
intense,
it's not.
man. Like,
Yeah, Africa is no joke. I tell you that much. They don't play with that, man. Like you have people that have certain last names, and people will bow down to them. It's no joke,
wow.
and I've
Did,
seen
I
it.
bet. Yeah. Did they treat you like royalty when you went over there?
Well, because I was hanging out with some of those guys, and they were not treating me that way, because I was with certain individuals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
therefore, I've witnessed it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, of course. And I know that had to have been eye-opening because especially in a place growing up like Brooklyn or anywhere, you won't see anybody else bowing down to somebody else. You'd be like, yo, what the heck? Like get away from me. Or, it's just a different
Yeah,
culture. But it's those experiences, like you said, that helps you become the best man that you can be, your best woman that you can be, your best fashion designer that you can be. Just go out and experience it and try different things. And I want to make one more point too is don't ever be afraid to do something alone. Now,
oh,
traveling, yeah, because I know a lot of people they say they travel by themselves, and that's the best experience that they've ever had. Just because they can wake up whenever they want to, they can do whatever activity that they want to, eat wherever they want, and all of those great things. But don't stop depending on other people, please, because they're not going to live your life for you, and happiness is never going to be on the outside. So when you take yourself and you have yourself and you're comfortable enough to go by yourself, those are going to be the times, like Bernie said, that you discover who you are and where your roots are and what you're truly capable of.
yeah, definitely. The challenges, there are great challenges in life, and I'm not trying to repeat what Kanye said, but it's true. if it doesn't kill you, if it doesn't kill you, it definitely will make you stronger.
Hmm. 100%, man. And like I said, you just never know what you might find of in those places. Like Bernie said, you could find that girlfriend, you could find that new piece of inspiration. You can find, meeting the higher powers or whatever it is that you want to find. You can't stay in one spot and expect to be the same person that you're ever going to be, going throughout everything in your life, man. So, like I said, it's so hard to really pinpoint one thing because you've had so many different experiences. Can you talk about the first time that you traveled internationally and kind of when you had that first experience that you saw the model on the runway with your collection? Talk about, walk us through how did you feel when that happened and, was it just like, man, I've achieved everything that I've ever wanted to? Talk about the first time that's happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my first fashion show was a disaster, by the way. It was the worst fashion show ever. And
Wow.
I say that not because we did certain things badly bad. Part of it was because we were in the area. I was in Indianapolis. We didn't have the resources in order to turn a fashion show to a successful fashion show. So therefore, I was in college, and a group of friends of mine came from Brooklyn. They were like, "Yo, let's do this fashion show. This is what you're all about. There's no way you're gonna become an engineer. Let's do this fashion show. We can boost your morale." So I said, "All right, let's do it." And I did it, and it was one of the worst fashion show ever. However, what happened next is what really trickled me down the street to where I am now. I was forever remembering how you take your idea and turn it into a clothes and then put it on a model on a human form, and that was the ice cream on the cake for me. And as you mentioned, watching a person wearing your clothes is a whole different uh, paradigm of experiences versus sketching an idea on the paper, because on paper it looks great, but what made you think it's gonna look great on somebody? That could be the worst dress ever.
Yeah, and it's like you were saying,
you know.
just do it and you got to push through it too. And
So
like you
so yeah.
said,
So
you're still with us, right? All right. Well, it's like Bernie was saying, man. Just when that thing happens, and he could have just easily given up right there and just said, this isn't for me. That you saw how the first show went; it was an absolute disaster.
yeah, I'm
But
here.
he didn't stop right there.
I'm here.
Perfect. All right. Just a little laggy right there. But that's because you're speaking the facts right now and all the great energy's coming through. So it's messing up with your connection right now. But Bernie, we only have a couple minutes left on the show. And we actually always wrap up the show in the same exact way throughout, I think, all the seasons so far. But we have one final question for you, Bernie. So if there's somebody that's watching right now, right, and it may be a an aspiring fashion designer, somebody that's in the opposite field, they're still trying to figure out whatever it is that they want to do. If they're at the deepest, darkest point and they don't know how to get out of wherever they're at, what piece of advice do you have to give to this person?
Hmm.
I think you're still. I think you can still hear us. There's just a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
See what happens, man. On weekly dose, you guys bring the positivity posse, brings in this great
Yeah.
energy, and it freezes everything. So, and then if you ever wanted to get into contact with the Bernie, oh, here he is. Let's see.
Let's see. There you
You,
go.
you,
Sorry.
you,
How's that?
it's all good. Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Do
Okay.
you,
Sorry about that.
yeah, it's all good. It's not your fault. You know how technology is.
Okay. Um, as I was mentioning to you, part of the best advice I can say to somebody that would like to achieve greatness and then they're facing some darkest hours is to really go back to the beginning. Why did you have that idea? How that idea came up to you? And for what purpose were you designing that idea for? Because every darkest time has to do with the beginning. If there wasn't a beginning, so therefore why are you here doing it? Therefore switch up to something else then, that can make you feel happy again, and evolve to the being that you really want to be. For me, yeah, I'd go through the emotion of being a fashion designer, but I always go back to the beginning when I first saw my first dress and stuff like that. And that right there inspiring me every day. And I carry that idea with me wherever I go around the world. So even if I'm in Mexico City, or if I am in Morocco like I was a couple weeks ago, for me, I'm walking down the street, all I can picture is that how can I dress these people. So for me, that idea, that concept keep me living and living again. Unless I live on this planet, there's no more people. And there's absolutely no more people for me to dress. you know so yeah.
Man, and it's amazing too how you always have that attitude of service for other people. And you've said that in the very beginning of the episode too. It's not just about you and making yourself feel good, but it's about being of service to other people and making sure that they feel, their best self and their most confident self through the eyes and through the world of fashion.
Yeah.
So Bernie, if somebody wanted to get into contact with you or reach out to you, where can they find you at?
Definitely social media. They all come to me. That would be the easiest and fastest way to reach out on Instagram, Catouwear, and also website catouwear.com. And you have the links down there. You can ask me all kind of questions, and of course, email. They can email me info@catouwear.com. Always a great way to reach out to me as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And all right, so you answered the question kind of quickly. So we got one more. We got like another minute or two.
Yeah, go
What's
ahead.
next? What's next for you, Bernie?
Oh man, what's next for me? What is really next for me? Right now I'm working with several projects, and of course I'm not allowed to discuss what they are. However, what I'm really immensely want to get myself into is contributing to what you call to the life of sport, you know, to make my impact in terms of like to inspire people through the work of fashion design in sports, and how can we elevate our generation to not only take creativity as such a way that, oh, it's just for lazy people, it's for this, it is, that creativity can flow through us and by us to all kind of means and shape and form. And that's what I really want to do, so we can inspire the world and to get up and do something more positive. Yeah.
Awesome. So there it is, everybody. That was Weekly Dose of Dano for today. Thank you so much, Bernie, for coming on. Like you
Thank
said, reach
you.
out to Catou Wear. He'll hook you up, make you look nice. And if you need a custom piece done, as he said earlier in the episode, he can do that for you. And that's actually his favorite thing to do as well.
Yeah, I
So
enjoy that. I just enjoy adjusting people, man. I don't know why.
hey, that's your thing, right? As long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters. Not everything needs a reason behind it. So in the fashion world, watch out, everybody that's in there, because Bernie's about to come in and tear it up. As to my positivity posse, thank you guys so much for being here again and supporting us and being here for the first episode of season 4. We have a great lineup of guests coming on. Just to give you guys a little glimpse, next week we have Robert Griffin. He was a former Harlem Globetrotter, and he actually played in the NBA as well. So he's going to be coming on to the show, sharing his stories of success and greatness as well. Like I said, Bernie, thank you so much for kicking off season 4. To my
Thank you.
positivity posse, you guys are amazing. Thank you for lighting it up in the comments. And everybody, be safe this weekend. And always live your life to the best that we can, and always focus on our inner world, because what goes on in our inner world is a reflection of what goes on in our outer world. It's just going to follow that as well. So be safe, everybody. Have a great night, and I'll see you next week. Bernie, I forgot to mention, don't go anywhere. I want to talk to you for a few minutes.
Okay, no problem.
Everybody, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Peace.